Hello, truth seekers, and welcome back to Projectadya. I'm your host, Nova. Now, usually, when we think about the human brain, we picture a massive, biological telephone exchange. The classic theory goes something like this. Your neurons act as the wires, and they fire electrical signals, like phone calls, to one another. If you string together enough wires and enough calls, boom, you magically get a conscious thought. But let's be honest, this computer model leaves us with a pretty lonely, isolated picture of human existence. It makes it feel like our thoughts are just, trapped inside our skulls, completely disconnected from the rest of the universe. Today, we are going to shatter that isolated picture. Joining us in the studio is Shoma, a brilliant neurobiology expert who studies the fundamental fabric of consciousness. Welcome to the show, Shoma.
Thank you so much, Nova. It is really wonderful to be here. You perfectly described that old mechanical model of the brain. But science is finally catching up to something incredible. The brain might not just be making the calls, it might actually be a quantum antenna.
A quantum antenna? So you're telling me my brain is basically an old TV antenna trying to catch a cosmic broadcast? If so, I really hope I'm tuned into the right channel today.
Exactly. It sounds like science fiction, but it all comes down to tiny structures inside our neurons called microtubules. For decades, biologists dismissed them as mere scaffolding, just the bones holding the cell's shape together. But physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff looked closer. They realized these microtubules are perfectly symmetrical, lattice-like structures that look suspiciously like the components of a quantum computer.
Wow, so they aren't just holding the cell together?
Not at all. This profound discovery led to the Orch-OR theory, which stands for Orchestrated Objective Reduction. The theory suggests that consciousness arises from quantum processes inside these microtubules. They don't vibrate like a regular guitar string. They vibrate at a quantum frequency, interacting directly with the fundamental fabric of space-time itself.
That is absolutely wild. It sounds a lot like the ancient mysticism surrounding the Akashic records, this idea that every thought, event, and emotion is stored in a universal field.
Yes! For a long time, the scientific community dismissed that as pure fantasy. But in quantum physics, we know that information is never destroyed. It exists in the wave function of the universe. If our microtubules are indeed quantum resonators, it implies your brain isn't generating thoughts from scratch. It is accessing information. You aren't writing the song, Nova. You are catching the broadcast.
That completely changes how we view human connection. If we aren't isolated, what does this mean for the physical space between us?
It brings us to the most radical implication of this theory, non-locality. In our classical world, things are local. If I want to tell you something, I have to send a text message or a sound wave across physical space. But in the quantum world, space is entirely irrelevant. Particles can become interconnected in such a way that the state of one instantly influences the other, no matter how far apart they are.
Even if they are galaxies apart?
Exactly. Albert Einstein actually called this spooky action at a distance. If consciousness is quantum, if it resides in these microtubule vibrations, then your consciousness is non-local. It is not trapped behind your eyes. This provides a biological bridge to explain the unexplainable. Ever had a sudden weird urge to call a friend, only to find out they were in a crisis? Or that instant gut feeling about a partner? That isn't magic, Nova. It's entanglement. Your biological antennas are simply tuned to a frequency that bypasses the delay of our physical senses.
Wow, that is such a beautiful way to look at existence. We walk through life thinking we are isolated entities, imprisoned by our skin. We think our private thoughts are locked in a biological safe. But this science suggests we are porous. We are constantly leaking into one another, and the universe is pouring into us. We aren't separate instruments trying to make noise in a void. We are strings on the same infinite cello, vibrating in response to the same bow. Shoma, thank you so much for blowing our minds today.
Thank you for having me, Nova. It was a joy to be here.
And to our listeners, the next time you feel a connection that logic just can't explain, don't brush it off yet. You aren't imagining things. You're just receiving a signal. Keep your antennas tuned, and we'll see you next time.